Chapter 34 Pirates on Darkwater. While I was figuring out a way to get closer to what was going on, specifically to where the Guardian ship had made their, hopefully, emergency landing, Drake had gone and brought up the others. The wall was thick enough for us all to stand comfortably without risking falling in, but the water felt dangerously close to me. Every time a little wind kicked up and tossed a small wave towards us, my pip-board beeped, warning me that I was taking on radiation. The sooner we get this done, the better. I keep thinking back to that test and hope I don't grow an extra limb. So, what's the plan, Livy? Not sure yet, Holly. Trying to figure out how we can get over to where the Guardians crashed. Once we figure out the situation, we can do what we can to assist them in rescuing whoever the hostage is. Olivia? Not now, Nate. Drake, could you fly us over there? But I doubt we'd be able to make it without them seeing us. I think... At times I wish there was a way for Drake to call his kin to help. But he had already told me that that wasn't possible unless they were close enough. And I highly doubt there are more of them that enjoyed being out in the day. Come to think of it, I wasn't really sure how he felt about being out in the daylight. I may have to ask him about that after this. I'd hate to be causing him any kind of discomfort. There wasn't much around us. Mostly water, and I knew swimming was out of the question. The nearest landmass, a small collection of wood that had been haphazardly thrown together, was still way too far away to make it without getting dipped in the rad soup. There were a few buildings near us, but they looked like they were either flooded or mostly submerged. So I doubt we would find them useful. I did, however, notice a small antenna array nearby. Hey, Nate? I waited a few seconds, but he didn't respond. Nate? I was cut off by a loud noise that was getting closer. I quickly turned towards the noise and my jaw nearly dropped when I saw Nate approaching on the water in some sort of... I think it was a pre-war boat. Land ho! I've always wanted to say that. Where did you get that thing? There was a disabled boat over there. I was able to fix it up in a jiffy. And why didn't you tell me? I tried, and you weren't listening. Good work, Nate. The boat was a decent size. Since there were no lakes or oceans in the Burrow, I never really paid much attention to things like that, so I had no idea if it was a good find or not. There was a large enclosure up top that could fit 2, maybe 3 of us, and enough room for a couple to be out on the open area. While I didn't know boats, I knew structural damage, and this thing had obviously seen better days. I was sure that we would fit, but Drake... Well, it should hold most of us, but... Drake, I'm not sure you'll fit.
Drake, fly, hide.
Fly, hide? Wait, do you mean fly stealthily?
Yes, fly, hide.
Well, works for me. Any objections? No? Alright then, all aboard the Nate Express. Despite earlier circumstances, Nate seemed rather pleased with himself for his accomplishment. I wasn't sure if it was the fact that he was able to help us, or if he simply was happy to have fixed something. I know all too well what it's like not to be able to tinker. Unfortunately, my only chance of doing that regularly flew right out the window when the Legionaries visited Hope. After this, we need to get back to locating them. Though I'm not looking forward to Blanche's plan. Okay, Nate, take us to where the Guardian ship crashed.
That'll be Captain Nate to you. Tally-ho!
Did he just say tally-ho? Oh, sometimes. At least he's happy. I'm still unsure about my feelings involving him. But I like seeing him when he's happy. I'm sure they all do. Not that I don't like seeing him when he's unhappy, but when he's like that I just want to... I really need to work out my feelings regarding him soon, before they become a greater distraction. I just don't know where to even start. Is Livy daydreaming about her fluffy fox? Holly, don't scare me like that. And it's not what you think. Even though she knew it was exactly what she thought. Or at least close to it. I'm sure she greatly exaggerates things in that head of hers. Holly leaned in closer and started to whisper. You know he likes you. Both Mark and I can tell. He's changed since meeting you. In a good way, too. But I can tell that neither of you have any idea what's going on. Just remember, if you need any girls' advice, my door is always open. Well, almost always. When it's closed, well, hopefully you two will find out about that one day. She gave me a wink before heading back to Marcus's side. That rabbit. Here I am trying to work things out, and she has to go and make things so much more complicated. I knew what she was talking about, and I never even thought about... And now I am. Fuck you, Holly. I think Nate must have noticed me staring at him for... Oh, hell, I don't even know. I quickly changed my view, taking out the scope and pretending to look at the water so he didn't see me blushing. I was starting to know that feeling all too well. Yeah, when we have some quiet time, I really need to... Wait, what's that? Oh, fuck. Everybody get down! Whatever guns those ships have fire really big bullets. The projectile flew past us and thankfully missed. But I have a feeling that there are more where that came from. I traced the line of fire to a smaller boat that was heading right towards us. Either that was a warning shot or these guys have horrible aim. Either way, it's game time.
Aye, shiver me timbers! Batten down the hatches, there be some buccaneers upon us!
Oh, shut up, Nate, and try to avoid their fire.
This thing isn't as maneuverable as you would think.
Just like Blanche, he knows how to ruin the moment, too. Even if he didn't know there was a moment. Speaking of Blanche, she wasn't on my shoulder, and I don't remember seeing her since we got on. Where could that mouse be? Blanche, where are you?
Over here.
Why did she sound... Oh no, don't tell me. I walked over to where some damaged crates were at the rear of the boat, just as another projectile zoomed past and hit the water nearby. I saw the unmistakable robotic tail sticking out from one of them. I bent down and there she was, the pure white fur on her face showing a slight hint of green. You're getting seasick, aren't you?
You tell anyone, and I'll...
Slice my throat, I know, I got it. Are you gonna be okay?
Once I get off this fucking thing, yeah, I'll be fine.
I'll just tell them that you're not a ranged fighter. You owe me on this one.
Yeah, whatever, Astron. Now just...
She threw up into one of the damaged crates. I should be more worried about her, but I was just feeling amused at the whole situation. Incoming! I felt the boat shake as one of the projectiles glanced the boat. They were getting more accurate, so that could only mean...
You be tressin' on tidebreaker territory. Stop your boat and prepare to be boarded.
It must have been warning shots. They were probably trying to force us to come to a stop while they got closer. I have a feeling that they don't know who they're dealing with. I also don't think that they saw the giant Deathwing flying over them as they neared us. I looked up at Drake and pointed at the enemy vessel.
What the f... That's a Deathwing! Are you sure? I don't think they...
Drake landed on the boat with such strength that it knocked one of them right into the water as the entire ship shook. The other one looked like a cheetah, tried to shoot at Drake with a rifle but missed when Drake flew back into the air and right over the cheetah and picked him up by the shoulders. I tried to shout at Drake to bring him back so we could question him, but I don't think he heard me as he flew over the side of the wall. I think he was... Oh, yep, he dropped him off the side of the wall. That cheetah was definitely dead. I really should have been mad at Drake for doing that. But honestly, I had a sneaking suspicion that they wouldn't have gone down without a fight.
Drake, help.
I didn't notice him hovering over me, but I did notice the blood dripping from the talons on his feet. and mouth. Did he...
Drake, hungry. Drake, feed.
You... Thanks. But didn't I say not to eat other mammals?
Drake, no eat friends. Drake, eat bad.
Oh, we need to work on that. From now on, don't eat any mammals unless I say it's okay.
Drake, bad?
No, Drake, you're not bad. It's just I need to be a bit more specific with what I tell you. As long as you promise not to eat anyone else, I'll forgive you.
Drake, promise. Drake, good.
Yes, you are good. I should have had more negative feelings towards what he did. But despite the fact that he can talk, I need to remember that before that damn board did whatever he did to Drake, he was merely a savage beast that would have probably eaten us all without a second thought. At least I can do good by him. And maybe he can do good by us. We should take their ship. I saw Mark and Nate looking at the enemy boat. Why? Well, for one thing, it has weapons. This boat was probably once a fishing or recreational boat, not meant for combat. That one, however, looks like it has a reinforced hull and weapons. Even Drake's landing on it didn't damage the hull too much. Plus, if we go cruising around in this thing, we'll be a target for any other ships that they might have. If we ride in one of their own, we can slip by undetected. Brilliant, Mark. Well, that's my Marky. What he lacks in smarts, he makes up for in tactics. Well, Flopsy, I don't see you coming up with any brilliant ideas. That's because it's your department, Brushbutt. Okay, people, concentrate. Let's all get onto that boat. It seems a bit bigger. Do you want to join us, Drake?
Drake, fly. Drake, watch.
All right, let's get a move on then. This boat was definitely much roomier than the other one. Its overall design was similar, a single cabin with plenty of floor space. But it had a large gun mounted on top, along with a much deeper hull made for better protection. Plus, it wasn't as loud as the other one. Holly insisted on jumping up to the large gun, while Nate took over the controls. I saw Mark keeping watch while Onion was just floating around. That left our newest member of the group. You doing any better, Blanche? She was next to a bunch of ammo crates.
Well, what do you think, ass-twat?
Hey, I just wanted to make sure you're gonna be okay.
Well, Thanks. I'll be okay. Just please don't make me be on this boat any longer than I have to.
Trust me, I want to end this as soon as possible. Like I said, the longer we take to find those legionaries, the more danger others will be in because of me. You know the legionaries. Would they attack a town just to get a target?
If you pay them enough, they'll tear a baby from its own mother's belly. So yes, they would.
Why did you even want to join them?
Caps, mostly. They always fulfill a contract, no matter how, and that's earned them the right to be the most expensive mercenaries in the Zootopian wasteland.
Caps? Is that the only reason? To be rich? What if you lost more than your tail? You can't spend money if you're dead.
There was another reason.
She seemed very calm, speaking as if she only wanted someone to listen to what she had to say. But just like her other emotions, this one didn't last long.
One that I don't want to talk about now, ass-twat. Now leave me alone until we reach land.
I didn't just surround myself with mammals. I surrounded myself with mammals that had emotional issues. Nate freezes up at the sight or even mention of anything Burrow related. Holly seems to be overly creative with her teasing. Mark was... well, actually, he's the most calm and collected of the bunch. But he talked a lot, too. And my mother had always told me mammals who talk a lot are often hiding something. And then there was Blanche. calm one second and ready to get herself killed the next. At least Drake seemed to be the easy one to figure out. Then again, for all I know, he had deep emotional issues too. I wonder if the Wasteland still had psychiatrists.
Avast ye! There be our scuttled mates!
He must have read a lot of pirate books or something. He was having way too much fun with this. Okay, Captain. Let's move around back of the structure. I don't want to risk being attacked while we try to leave the boat. In front of us were 3 structures that at first looked like giant icebergs. But as we got closer, I realized that they were made out of steel and concrete, shaped to look like an ice cap. 2 of them topped at a large curve, but the other one was much flatter, and right near the water surface. As we turned past the second large structure, we saw smoke, and then the wreckage of the Guardian's aircraft. Hurry, we need to see if they're all right. Holly, Mark, and Nate rushed off the boat the moment they were able to. I followed along with Onion. Blanche was nowhere to be seen, so I figured she must have still been trying to recover. As we approached the wreckage, I saw 3 Guardians. There were 2 wolves and a tiger. None of them were wearing the large exo-armor that I'd seen before, but rather smaller uniforms covered in metal plates that seemed to move with their bodies. Logan? It's been a while. Mark? Is that... Wait, what the fuck are you doing here?
Saving your asses, that's what.
Well, the whole gang is here. And you must be Olivia Springs. How'd you know? Chief Laszlo mentioned you were traveling with these 3. I just didn't expect to see you here, especially under these circumstances. Circumstances? What circumstances? You didn't hear. Logan pulled out a small device and a message started to play.
This be a message for the hero of hope. You turn yourself over to us in exchange for the prisoner. Any attempts at rescuing her will result in execution, along with the rest of your pitiful town.
Me? They want me? Why does everyone want me? Who the fuck did I piss off? Tiebreakers don't normally take hostages. At least ones who are nowhere near Darkwater. The chief thinks they want to sell you to the Legionaries. Laszlo knows about that? How the fuck did he find out? We kinda told him, Livy. We had no course of action at the time, and I thought some extra eyes and ears would help. The Guardians have tangled with him a few times, so we asked them if they could let us know if anything came up. Why didn't you tell me that, Holly? You were already worried and dead set upon going at this alone, so we figured the more people we got to help, the sooner this could be over with. I appreciate the concern. I really do. But next time, don't keep things like that from me. Especially if it's my life on the line. You said it yourself. There are more lives on the line than just your own. But I won't keep anything from you again. I promise. Alright, back to the situation at Paw. Who's the hostage? It's... Mayor Swift. What? We all reacted the same way. I don't think anyone expected that. How the fuck did they get her away from Hope? We don't know yet. But shortly after she was taken, Chief Laszlo got a distress signal from Hope informing him of what happened. He tried to get a hold of you, Miss Springs, but he was unable to get through to warn you.
It probably happened in the dam. Those ass-twats could never get a working radio in there, let alone some kind of signal.
Blanche? Are you good?
Yeah, now what's this about Jezzy?
You know the mayor, Blanche?
Yeah, we go way back. At least before I ventured off to make a name for myself doing merc work. My uncle used to cook over at Olive's Garden, but we're not really on speaking terms anymore. I think he dislikes my choice of occupation. Beats slaving away in the kitchen all day.
Your uncle? Okay, Livy. Next time we need to find someone in order to find someone else, just start asking around Hope instead of trying to hunt down some damn ghoul. That would have saved us a lot of trouble. Yeah, I'll make sure to ask if anyone is related to a mercenary. So, are you three okay? We're good. A little banged up, but still combat ready. Our TAC, however, wasn't so lucky. TAC? Tactical Lifter. Or TAC Lifter for short. Do you have any idea where they're keeping the mayor? We guess it's on their main ship, the large icebreaker. It is heavily armored. It took down our TAC with a single shot. There's also an unknown number of armed mammals as well as smaller ships that flank either side. Without a TAC, we have no air support. Actually, Drake? What do you... Is that a fucking Deathwing? Why is it always the same reaction? All three Guardians were now on their feet, guns raised at Drake as he landed next to me. Put your guns down. He's with me. He's with you? Yes. Say hi, Drake.
Drake, help.
It can... Yes, he can talk. Also, he won't hurt you unless you shoot at him. So please, don't shoot him. This is highly irregular. Well, that's our Livy for you. I'm sure if she found a way to tame a firebug, she'd keep it as a pet. I would not. That's what onion's for. Really, miss? Okay, back to the matter at Paw. What were your plans for rescuing the mayor? All three of them were still staring at Drake. But I think after seeing that he wasn't an immediate threat, they put their guns down. But not out of reach, I noticed. We were just the scouting party. Once we had a better assessment of the situation, we were going to call for backup. Is backup nearby? Not sure. We had an interruption in our communications. Something is blocking it. Yeah, I had the same issue with my Pip-War. It was actually your distress signal that we picked up. Nate, you think you could figure out the source of the interference? I can try, Olivia. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna try to find a way onto that ship. Typically in situations like this, my friends always seem to try to stop me from doing something dangerous or stupid. While half the time my choices are dangerous and stupid, they're also usually the best choice. That said, I was very surprised when rather than try and stop me, they insisted on trying to help. Oh, I got the perfect thing for that. Nate tossed me a small device. I had no idea what it was, but it had a Swineco logo imprinted on it. What's this? It's called a stealth bore. This one attaches to the expansion port on your Pip-Bore and can grant you limited invisibility. You can turn invisible? Why am I just finding out about this now? I can't believe there is technology that could turn someone invisible. That could have helped me out in so many different situations. Ones that I probably would have been able to escape from unscathed. I wonder if I'd seen them already, but didn't know. Oh, that fucker. That's how North stole my bag. He must have had a stealth bore. Although I don't recall him having a Pip-Bore. Nate had been the only one I've ever seen with one. Yeah, they're really useful. But those smaller ones only give you a brief window of invisibility. About 30 seconds between charges. This'll definitely help, but if it's that small of a window, I'll have to time things. And getting there won't be easy. Taking the boat would be the best idea. But how would I be able to get from the boat to the larger one without being seen?
Drake, fly.
Yeah, that could work. But you're so big, I doubt they'd miss you. Especially after already being attacked from the air. Actually, he won't. Come again, Nate? He pulled out a large brick of some kind. This is a standalone model of the stealth bore. It can last a few minutes longer than the smaller one, but it's so clunky and heavy its charge is depleted after one use. So it can't be used again unless its power source is replaced. We typically use them for emergencies, but if we can attach it to Drake, he can fly me up to the ship undetected. I love it. There's only one problem. I doubt he could activate it with those paws of his. You'll have to initiate the toggle and modify the frequency to match your surroundings, and then activate it. Due to its nature, it'll make pre-adjustments useless. For once, I have a solution, Nate. I dug around in my bag and pulled out a remote. I used these a lot during my times in the past, and I was able to make one of them after getting to Hope, but I haven't had time to make more. It's basically a wireless device that can connect my Pip-Boy to any computer system via a wireless connection, even if the computer has no wireless capabilities. Whoa, why haven't I ever thought of that? Did Livy just out-tech the WizKit? Those two really are made for each other. Holy. Anyways, it should work with a large stealth bore. I can manipulate it with my Pip-Boy, so all Drake needs to do is concentrate on flying. Is that okay with you, Drake?
Drake, help.
Well, it's settled. Let's make the proper adjustments and we'll be off. Nate, since I don't know how to operate that boat, I'll need you to drive us out there and rush right back. We may need that for backup. Yes. For you. I could see his face and ears turning redder than normal. That damn Holly and her teasing. I really need to find a way to pay her back. I affixed the remote to the stealth bore and got its connections all sorted. With just a few button presses, I can activate it and stealth Drake as he flies us to the boat. Then I just need to find the mayor, rescue her, and figure out a way to get off that damn boat. You don't have any other stealth bores, do you? Not on us. We left the rest back in the bunker. I guess I'll have to play it by ear once I rescue her. Onion, I need you to stay back here. I'll message you when I rescue the mayor and when we need help. Yes, miss. Do be careful. Aren't I always? Now, you ready? Let's go, Nate. Nate, Drake, and I got onto the boat. I asked Drake if he didn't mind laying down, to keep him out of sight. He said he didn't mind, but I had no idea if that was true. But he did what I said. I really hope he didn't think of me as simply another owner. There are so many things that need to be addressed with my friends. But as long as it doesn't affect our working together, it can wait until we have more time. Provided that ever happens. We set off towards the large icebreaker that Logan said was the Tidebreaker headquarters. It was at least 3 times higher from the water's surface compared to the smaller boats around it. We just had to sneak in undetected. I'm really glad that Mark suggested we take this boat. We probably wouldn't have made it this far with the other one. So, Nate? I've been meaning to ask, but part of me thought it was the right time, and part of me knew it wasn't. But it had been bugging me forever. Fortunately, or unfortunately, since I was undecided, I was interrupted by a radio transmission coming from the boat.
Approaching Tide Chaser. This is Tidebreaker. Who authorized your return?
What do we do, Olivia? If they find out we're not one of theirs, they'll surely kill us. He was right. We didn't know their codes or even names of the mammals who were on the ship. One slip-up and we were as good as dead. There was one thing they wanted, however. I ran into the cabin and grabbed the mic.
This is Tide Chaser. We've captured the rabbit, and we're seeking permission to bring her aboard.
I used the gruffest, most masculine voice I could muster, although I doubt it would work.
You got that fucking Olivia Springs? Good work, mate. The boss knew holding the hostage would draw that cunt out. Bring her over to the port side and we'll lower the lift.
Or maybe it will. Wow, these guys sure are gullible. Okay, Nate, we need to move the boat closer. Whatever you do, do not go to where they said. They probably have others waiting. Here is good. Oh, wait. We pulled around a small obstacle that was floating in the water to what had appeared to be an unobserved side of the large vessel, just to find a boat much smaller than this one floating right next to it. I pulled out my scope and took a look. I was expecting to see someone on it, but it was vacant. That gave me an idea. Nate, pull up next to that boat. Drake, get ready. What are you going to... Trust me. When Nate finally pulled alongside the smaller boat, I jumped off into it. Nate tried to object, but I threw him a smile and seemed to calm him down. I moved over to the controls. I had watched Nate. operating the boat while riding over here. And I saw it was a rather simple setup. I turned the ignition switch and the boat's engine revved up to life. Looking around, I saw a metal box that was large enough for what I needed to do. Okay, Nate. As soon as this boat moves, I'm gonna jump back onto yours.
But, Olivia, I said trust me. But the tie.
Tie? What was he talking about? I shook it out of my head as I pushed the accelerator forward. I felt it start moving forward as I ran and jumped back onto Nate's boat. This would act as a distraction for Nate to escape once it darted off in the opposite direction. Or at least it should. Why isn't it moving?
Olivia, it's tied to the ship.
And then I saw it. Some kind of rope attaching the smaller boat to the larger one. Fuck, why didn't he tell me about that? Oh, wait, he did. I really need to start listening more. I pulled out my gun. Since it was silenced, it wouldn't attract attention. I fired once, but it only grazed the rope. It took me 2 more shots to finally weaken it enough to snap under the tension. And then the mammalist boat took off, and I quickly grabbed the radio.
Tide chaser to tide breaker. That fucking rabbit knocked off my boys and stole our fucking boat. We need all available craft after her. What? Oh, the boss ain't gonna be happy. You heard him, after that boat.
So very gullible. When surrounded by these raiders, I felt like the smartest mammal out here. Okay, as soon as we take off, book it back to the others and await my signal.
You don't have to do it alone. I can wait here.
I'll be fine.
But,
He didn't want me to leave. He seemed eager enough to drive me out here, but now he didn't want to leave me to whatever awaits us up there. I would love to have the backup, but the more that bored, the greater risk of detection. I had to convince him to go, despite the odds. I walked over to him, grabbed both of his shoulders with my paws, and leaned in. Holly would have had a field day with this, but I had a feeling it would work. I leaned in until I could feel the warmth of his face. I really wanted to. I really did, but you be a good boy and head back, and maybe we can continue from here. I don't know why being close to him made me feel this way, but it was a surprisingly good feeling. One that I really didn't want to end. But I had a job to do, and I couldn't do it with me constantly worrying about his safety. The last thing I needed was him taking the place of the mayor. We pulled away from each other as Drake came up. He looked between us as we pulled away.
Olivia, like, come.
Oh, not him, too. Are you ready, Drake?
Drake, fly.
I went to affix the stealth board to him. Thankfully, it had some sort of snap on it. Once I was sure it wouldn't fall off, we were all set. Okay, Drake. Nate is going to head back as soon as we take off. After you drop me off, head back and meet up with them, okay?
Drake, protect.
I know you want to make sure I'm safe, but I need to keep the mammals up there distracted. I only have 30 seconds to figure out where the mayor is being kept. And it'll be harder if they suspect anything.
Drake, fly. Olivia, safe.
Yes, Drake, I'll be fine. Trust me.
Olivia? I should have mentioned, your stealth board is reusable. But you have to wait a minute between uses.
That's good to know. Thanks, Nate. I felt myself smile at him as he smiled back before suddenly changing his focus to the controls of the boat. All right, let's go, Drake. He picked me up in his claws and we took to the sky. Thankfully, Drake seemed to have full control over his claws. I could feel the pressure keeping me to him, but at no point did I ever feel like he was going to break skin. Although he was grabbing me by the shoulder that Blanche had dug her claws into, so it was feeling rather sore. I put the pain out of my mind and activated our stealth bores. I had figured that I would use it in a few second bursts to maintain the longevity of it, but since Nate said that mine was reusable, I decided to play it safe. It was a very weird feeling, The invisibility wasn't total. I could see the shimmering image of Drake above me, along with the same shimmering when I looked down at my arms and body. It was a very faint shimmer, however, so as long as somebody didn't focus too long on us, they would probably just think it was nothing. We flew up and over the side of the ship. It looked much larger than I thought, and there were mammals scurrying everywhere. I saw at least 3 large guns that looked more like cannons. That must have been what took down the Guardian's aircraft. Unlike the boats where the cabin had been situated in the front, the large cabin was more centered. On top of that was a small mounted machine gun, and I saw a moose operating it. He swung the gun right at us, and I was prepared to drop. But he must not have seen us, because he continued his movement until he was facing away. That was too close. Near the rear of the ship there wasn't much activity. I saw a few mammals here and there, but otherwise it was the perfect place. Drake? Down there. Thankfully he figured out where I wanted to go because I realized he probably didn't see me pointing.
Olivia, stay safe.
I will. He dropped me close enough so I was able to land without making too much noise. I saw a bear turning towards the corner, but he didn't stop to look back. I assumed Drake took off because I didn't see any signs of shimmering nearby, including my own. Fuck, when did it wear off? I took a look around and thankfully no one had seen me. I found a small alcove that I shoved myself into. I needed to wait until it was ready again before I could continue. I checked my scanner and I saw dots everywhere. Laszlo had my friend or foe mode activated, but I think it only detected aggressive signs because all the dots were white. Somewhere among these dots had to have been the mayor. When my indicator showed the stealth bore was ready again, I peeked out of the alcove to make sure the coast was clear. I would only activate it when I needed to. When I saw that no one was there, I left my hiding spot and picked the nearest corner to me. I glanced past it and saw at least 5 mammals ahead of me. I tried to think of where the mayor could have been. Then I saw a door. I bet anything she's down below. I activated my stealth bore and quickly moved towards the door. It wasn't locked, thankfully, so I slowly opened it enough for me to slip inside. The inside was dimly lit, but I was able to make it out. There were paintings on the wall depicting a great sea battle. It looked like someone had painted over the sails of the winning side, with the same wave image that these ships had. There were crates scattered all over. I had no idea what this room was, but my stealth bore was starting to wear off. I heard the clipping of someone's hooves heading this way. I looked around and the only hiding place was inside a large empty crate. I rushed over and threw myself inside. I felt my whole body bend in ways I didn't know it could, but I was hidden.
I can't believe we almost had that fucking rabbit. The boss will be royally pissed when he finds out we didn't get her back.
I know, Frank. Hopefully our boys can retrieve her.
You've been spending too much time with that mayor chick. Weren't you supposed to bring her meals, not sit around and stare at her?
I can't help it. She's just so beautiful. If things were different, I would have rushed to Hope and courted her with all me might.
Good luck with that. Though you got a point, she is very attractive for a landlubber. If I could, I wouldn't waste my breath with courtship. I'd take her by the fur and tear her in half, if you know what I mean.
You're disgusting. It's mammals like you that give raiders a bad name. Me? I'm a gentle mammal who believes in treating a lady right.
I don't know how you survive this long, buddy.
Their voices trailed off, but I didn't like the way they were talking about the mayor. If I was in any other position, I would have shoved my gun right down his throat and made him take back what he said.
Those ass-twats gone?
Yeah, Blanche?
What? You think I'd miss out rescuing Jessie? Especially if it meant slicing a few jugulars along the way?
How did you even... You know what? Never mind. It's too late to argue semantics. Just keep quiet until we find the mayor, okay? She must have hidden in one of my pockets at some point. I'll have to have a word with her about sneaking around like that. Still, she might prove useful. I didn't want the others coming with me because they'd stand out. But Blanche, as long as she keeps hidden, things should be fine. From how those two bastards were talking, we must have been close to where the mayor was kept. I checked my scanner but still saw a bunch of dots scattered around. But there were 3 of them that were very close by. I checked for any signs of life and started to move towards the dots. Leaving the room, I saw this place was a maze. There were doors scattered throughout the corridors, but most of them were locked. I looked for signs, but they weren't helping. Bridge, mess hall, quarters. I doubt any of those would be a place to keep a hostage. And then I saw it. Brig. I may not have a very good idea of what different naval terms mean, but I knew what a brig was. A prison. That must be where they're keeping her.
Well, let's go rescue Jezzy.
I didn't have to use the stealth bore since there was no one to see me, but that had to change. Around the next corner there was a door marked brig, with 2 mammals on either side. One was a wolf while the other was a badger. Both of them had rifles. I activated the stealth bore. If I could just manage to...
You let Jezzy go, you ass twats!
Blanche jumped down from her hiding place and darted towards the 2 mammals. That little fuck. I went to turn off my invisibility and grab my gun, but then I heard 2 thumps. I looked up and both of the mammals were lying on the ground, a pool of blood forming around each of their heads. How the fuck did she do that?
Olivia, get your ass over here! I'm too small to open this fucking door!
How did you... when did you... Oh, you know what, fuck it. I went over to the door and found it locked. I didn't have time to pick it, so I went over to the 2 lying on the floor. These 2 had died faster than I was able to react. I didn't even hear them speak or fire their weapons. I'm so glad she didn't join the Legionaries. If it was her who came after me... I found a keyring on the wolf and thankfully one of them unlocked the door. The door clicked loudly and swung open. It was very dark inside, but not dark enough to prevent me from making out some shapes. As I entered the room, my eyes started to adjust more, and I saw it was a very basic room. There was a toilet, a bed, and that was it. There, sitting on the bed, was Jezebel Swift, Mayor of Hope, and someone I considered my friend. I didn't know what to expect. In my head, I imagined her crying or yelling to be let out. But what I was met by was neither of those. She sat and looked right at me, her face stern. Mayor Swift, we're here to rescue you. Are you all right? She didn't say anything as she got up slowly and walked over to me and grabbed me in her arms, hugging me. Thank you. But you shouldn't have come. They want you. Her tone made it sound like she was simply addressing someone in a much better situation. She was a very strong-willed mammal. Stronger than I think I could ever be. I know. But I'll never let them take me, or anyone else again. I pulled out the radio on my pip-bore. Onion, I have the mayor. She's safe. I looked back towards her, her face a confused mix of relief and sternness. She was glad to see me, but I think she was also showing concern over it as well. If the Tidebreakers really did want to sell me to the Legionaries, then I just gave myself right to them. I wasn't leaving without a fight.